That is now 4 defeats in 5 games for Frank Lampard. Everton could be about to be relegated for the first time in their history. Over 100 years of history, heritage, prestige ripped up like that. This club are hanging on to their Premier League survival by a Rizzler paper. It is so tenuous. It is so in jeopardy. And I genuinely now do not know if they will survive. I was confident that they would. I really was. I thought that there was enough going on at the club. I thought that the club was big enough to survive. And they really are the old adage of being too big to go down. But that performance was truly atrocious. And this playing staff, these players are so bad. They've not won an away game in the league since August. Where is the fight? Where is the heart? Where is the passion of this team? How can it be that bad for so long? I mean, the club got it wrong. This season has been atrocious. You know, it went wrong so early when they employed Rafael Benitez. That was never going to sit right with the fans, and they were always on a hiding to nothing. They've then made the bold move of appointing Frank Lampard, but it feels like a move that is so bold that you don't really have any time. When you appoint somebody like Frank Lampard, whether it's Lampard, Gerrard, Wayne Rooney or Patrick Vieira, young managers are going to need a learning curve. They are going to make mistakes, which is why you've seen Vieira, dodgy form, Steven Gerrard, dodgy form. This is why it happens, because they're learning on the job. They therefore need time to learn on the job. A relegation dogfight is not time to learn on the job. And Frank Lampard is making mistakes, and Everton do not have time for these mistakes. It's really worrying. I mean, his team tonight were just atrocious. They were awful. Not one shot on target. And to be totally frank, they should have lost by more. Like conceding that amount of goals, conceding 5 goals at Tottenham. And let's remember that Tottenham are a bit of a laughingstock themselves at the moment. You know, they can find no rhythm. They've been putting out appalling performances. They've just been launched out of the cup by Middlesbrough, which was undoubtedly their worst performance of the season under Conte. And yet, they have just battered Everton. This is so worrying. This is so bleak. The future is not looking good at all. And where Everton go from here, I really don't know. It's so worrying because this club are so poor. And Frank Lampard effectively has 12 games to save themselves. And the way that it's being run is so worrying. Look, I said this when Benitez was in charge. As much as I don't like Rafael Benitez, I did say that if you asked me to list 10 problems at Everton, Rafael Benitez probably wouldn't be in the list. With regard to what's going on at Everton, don't get me wrong, I think Lampard is a problem because what he is good at isn't this. A relegation dogfight is not Frank Lampard's forte, and that is what they are in. But the running of the club is just unbelievable. They've just lost a sponsor, by the way. Usmanov has just been sanctioned in the States. So the impact that that's going to have, remember, Usmanov has already paid 30 million quid to have the naming rights on Everton's new stadium. He's just been sanctioned. What does that mean for the future of Everton? And when you think about the way that it's been run over the past, say, 5 years, it's appalling. And all of those terrible decisions are culminating in this issue of today. Everything that's happened over the past 5 years results in this. Signing Iwobi for ridiculous amounts of money. Spending what? Spending £500 million and still having a team with Iwobi and Rondon in it. How is that possible? How can you spend £500 million and still have Seamus Coleman in the team? How is Michael Keane anywhere near a Premier League team in 2022? He is atrocious. He is truly atrocious. I mean, he makes Tyrone Mings look like a decent player. And yet he's still in the team. And he's in a team that spend money. Like I say, £500 million in 5 years. And this is what's going on. So the running of the club, Bill Kenwright really does need to hang his head in shame because I genuinely don't know this. If anyone knows the answer, can they comment below? What does Bill Kenwright do? What is the point of Bill Kenwright at Everton? I honestly have no idea. But what a grim night. This has got to be one of the lowest moments for Everton Football Club that I can remember. I mean, this is terrible. Partly because it's Tottenham. Partly because I genuinely think that they could end up going down, and partly because that performance was just so worrying. I mean, did you notice at the end of the first half, There was a moment where Holgate basically smashes the ball into Michael Keane's face. If that isn't a microcosm of the night that Everton had, I mean, if that was it, that just perfectly sums up who Everton are. Their defending, it was reckless, farcical, laughable at times, and just downright rubbish. Like rubbish. And I think it's personnel not being good enough. I think it's a system not being right. And it's weird because, Tottenham took their second two goals well. Keane's own goal obviously set the tone, but that all came at a time when Everton were actually playing half decent. I mean, it feels like a long time ago now because we know how the game went. And basically Tottenham, there was a new low set for Everton Football Club tonight. And it was really sad that Frank Lampard was at the helm. But Tottenham, who are Tottenham, decided that they only needed 55 minutes to beat Everton, which is a new low for football. They declared, they did a cricket thing. They went, do you know what? We're done. We got a massive match on the weekend against Man United. We're done. 55 minutes. Let's just call it a day here. Because that's effectively what happened. Nothing happened in the game for the final half an hour. And I wonder if that is the greatest humiliation in football ever. Like, what's worse? Getting torn apart and absolutely ripped up for 90 minutes, or having a situation where the opposition basically say, you're done. Bit of pity. We've got other things to worry about. You're not really worth the fight. We don't want any bookings. We don't want any send-ins off. We don't want any injuries. We'll just batter you in 55 minutes and we will comprehensively whoop you so badly that for the final half an hour, we're just going to play it out. I mean, Tottenham having the audacity to go into second gear because they're worried about going to Old Trafford and making sure that their powder is dry is really, really embarrassing for Lampard and Everton. It's so poor. And what this means for Everton going forward, I really don't know. Like I say, they've got 12 games to save their life, and I just don't know if they're going to have it in them. I think their best bet is the fact that Leeds United are on such a poor trajectory. The fact that Brentford, despite one win, and that win was against Norwich, are on such a poor trajectory. And the fact that I believe Watford and Norwich will probably go. So there is only one spot available. Frank Lampard and Everton's best hope is, are there three teams worse than us? Because we are definitely a poor team. Do we have it in us to survive? Potentially. But it's going to be because of what other people get up to. There are some poor fixtures coming up for Everton as well. They've got to worry about playing Wolves, Newcastle, Palace. Winnable on some level, but probably not winnable for this team because they are in disarray. This is shambolic. It's truly shambolic, and they could go down. A milestone night I have to mention, of course, Harry Kane. He's past Thierry Henry's Premier League goals. He's closing in on Frank Lampard's goal record, although I imagine that is the last thing on Frank Lampard's mind. What a terrible night that was for Everton. They are in dire straits. They really are. Thank you, as always, so much for watching this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like. Please click subscribe, and I wish you a better night than anyone who supports Everton. Unbelievably bad. In a bit.